The Chernobyl disaster, in 1986, resulted in the release of a significant amount of radioactive material into the environment, leading to the evacuation of human populations from the surrounding areas. However, despite the high radiation levels, wildlife, including dogs and other animals, have managed to survive and even thrive in the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone. It's important to note that while the exclusion zone is heavily contaminated, it is not completely devoid of life. The absence of human activity has created a unique environment where wildlife can exist with minimal human interference. Here are a few factors that have contributed to the survival of animals in the area. Adaptation. Over time, animals in the exclusion zone have developed certain adaptations that help them cope with the radiation exposure. Some studies have shown that birds, for example, exhibit higher levels of antioxidants in their bodies, which can help mitigate the effects of radiation. Reduced competition and predation. With the evacuation of human populations, habitat alteration, and reduced hunting and predation, animals have experienced a decrease in competition for resources and have been able to thrive in the absence of human disturbance. Shorter reproductive cycles. Some animals in Chernobyl have adapted their reproductive strategies to compensate for the potential impacts of radiation. For example, studies have shown that birds in the area tend to have shorter breeding seasons and produce more broods per year, allowing them to maintain or increase their populations despite the challenges. Human intervention. While human presence is limited, there are some workers and researchers who periodically visit the exclusion zone. These individuals provide some level of care and support to the animals, including feeding them and providing medical attention when necessary. Regarding dogs specifically, many domesticated dogs were left behind during the evacuation, and they have formed feral populations in the exclusion zone. These dogs have adapted to survive in the area, scavenging for food and forming social groups. Some organizations have initiated efforts to provide veterinary care and spay and neuter programs to manage the dog population and prevent overpopulation and suffering. In addition to having to face the harsh winters in Ukraine without adequate shelter, they frequently have higher radiation levels in their fur and a shorter lifespan of just 5 years, according to the Clean Futures Fund, a non-governmental organization that monitors and provides care for dogs living within the exclusion zone. In 1986, Soviet soldiers shot many of the abandoned animals in an effort to prevent the spread of contamination. But undoubtedly, some of the animals hid and survived. 35 years later, hundreds of stray dogs now roam the 1,000 square mile exclusion zone, put in place to restrict human traffic in and out of the area. Nobody knows which of the dogs are directly descended from stranded pets, and which may have wandered into the zone from elsewhere. Some of the guards have built modest huts for the dogs that dwell close to the checkpoints in the zone, and some of them are smart enough to gather close to the neighborhood cafe, after learning that a human presence means food. It's worth noting that the radiation exposure in the Chernobyl exclusion zone can still have health effects on animals, including increased rates of certain types of cancer and genetic mutations. Nonetheless, the overall population of wildlife in the area has demonstrated resilience and managed to persist in this challenging environment. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to our channel.